Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Friday evening episode of Ted's Booze Cellar with me, your most gracious host, Ted. It is currently 2 minutes to 6 on the 18th of December, 2020. Now, I'm continuing on with the incoherent or infrequent theme of Christmas-themed drinks here on Ted's Booze Cellar, and for this episode we've got another Christmas mulled-themed alcohol. So today we're going to be taking a look at Spiced Mulled Cider, designed by Heston and sold in Waitrose. Now, this is £3.99 for a bottle that is 750 millilitres, 5.5% alcohol volume, and I mean, as with most Waitrose bits of labelling, the design is pretty simple, except for this wacky-looking humanoid goat here for some reason with the glass of the eponymous mulled cider in question. So, pretty standard labelling. It looks nice, it's clean, crisp, well designed, and it's simple enough, but it's just that goat in the middle just stands out. So, I'll be festive. I'll give it a 10 out of 10 just for that. I mean, I remember Heston once designed a cherry Bakewell tart flavoured vodka for Waitrose, and that had a cat in a suit on it, and so I don't know. It's just a bit wacky, but I like the design of it. So yeah, I like mulled cider as well. So I'm feeling good about this. I generally prefer mulled cider to mulled wine, even though mulled wine is pretty traditional. So I'll give it. I've got the bottle which I've chilled, and I've got a mug of it slightly warmed up in a saucepan. So I'm going to smell the cold one and the warm one, and then I'm going to do a taste test of both of them, obviously. So, the cold version doesn't give off a great smell. It smells a weird bit sort of perfumey at the finish, which I'm not a really big fan of. So I'll probably give it a 4 out of 10 for the smell of it when it's cold. But let's give it a sniff of it when it's warm. Okay, it's got a weird sort of sour tanginess at the finish of the smell when you smell it warm, which I'm not a massive fan of, but it definitely smells a hell of a lot better warmed up. So I'll give the warmed up smell a 7 out of 10. It's got a nice plummy sort of finish to the smell. The tanginess at the end is a bit odd, but it actually does smell pretty nice. So before we taste either of these, I'm going to have a big old gulp of water to wash my palate. And then, what I'm going to do is, I smelled the one I felt less confident about first, and now I'm going to try the version of it that I feel a bit more confident about first in the taste testing section. So, first off, we're going to try the warmed up version of it in my Charlton Athletic mug. So, bottoms up. It's very mild, actually. The flavours are quite sort of balanced. There's this crisp sort of apple cider flavour throughout that's distinctly it's one of those sharp British apple ciders, but sort of a lot more mellow. So the tanginess and the sourness and sharpness that a lot of people don't like about a lot of British ciders isn't really that present here. And then if you warm it up, it really brings out this plummy, mildly spiced cinnamony finish as well at the end, which is really nice. It ties together the sweetness from before really, really well. What else could I say? Oh yeah, and there's also this undertone of sort of caramelized apple in the middle there. That undercuts everything with this slightly more caramelly, almost burnt sugary taste that sort of undercuts everything quite nicely, actually. So it's got a bunch of different Christmassy flavours that I think mix together quite well. So I'm probably going to give the warmed up version probably a 7.5 out of 10. It's decent. It's just not particularly mind blowing. But then again, I don't know. I do like mulled cider a lot, but I just haven't had quite a variety of different types of mulled cider, so maybe I'm just a bit inexperienced in that regard. But generally, I think a 7.5 is pretty damn good. I warmed it up at like 75% heat in a saucepan for about 5 minutes at most. So you don't want to boil it at all. You just want to leave it humming with like heat waves coming off of it. So now we're going to try a bit of it chilled. Generally speaking, I would prefer or recommend to have mulled drinks warmed up, but I mean, I'm an open man, so I can try anything in any which way in any which situation that I want. So, bottoms up to the chilled version of this mulled cider. It's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be quite perfumey and varnishy and not very nice. Just doesn't taste of much though. I think generally it kind of tastes like an apple juice from concentrate that's got a tiny bit of cinnamon in it and is a little bit spiced and fermented at the end. But I don't know, apart from that, it's not got a really particularly noteworthy flavour. But generally, I was expecting it to probably taste about as unremarkable as it smelled, so I was probably going to get the feeling that I was going to give it a 4 out of 10, but generally it's not actually that bad. It's a 6 out of 10 at least, I think, and a good 6 out of 10, I think, but it's not like, I wouldn't really want to go out of my way to have this chilled. It's not really suitable for having it chilled, and it is definitely much nicer in a mug, warmed up, probably with a stick of cinnamon in it, and maybe a packet of pork rinds. So generally speaking, I think this is a good mulled cider. I think that there is some aspects to it that I think could be improved. Like I think that the apple flavour at the finish could be improved a little bit. And I think there could be maybe a little bit of sourness undercutting it that might help balance out the sweetness. But generally speaking, this is still a pretty good cider. And as I've gotten older, I've drunk less ciders, so I'm actually quite impressed with this, even though I only gave it a 7.5. And a 6.5 for the warmed up and chilled versions of it respectively. So generally speaking, I think this is worth a buy and worth a try at least. So yeah, give it a shot. And yeah, if you guys like this video, leave a like, share and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future episodes of Ted's Booze Cellar, leave them in the comments section down below. And if you want to check out anything else I'll do, I'll leave the links to my other social media platforms in the video description down below. But until next time, have fun, stay safe with whatever you're doing, don't do anything I wouldn't do, wash your hands, take a mask with you to the shops, drink responsibly, know your limits, and I'll see you guys at the bar next time on Ted's Booze Cellar. Merry Christmas and a happy Hanukkah.